And I think it's, the shame really, as a Leave voter myself, is that, again, it's falsely attributed that anyone would have been swayed solely by a poster or a Facebook ad. There's no evidence that people even saw these things or reacted to them.
There's evidence that tens of millions of people did. Otherwise they wouldn't have paid all that money for them. But let's not relitigate that. Do you think? No, we're not. We're talking about last night's interview.
Anyone that still believes in Brexit, listening to Cummings. But, we have to look at how the Remain camp drove people as well with a poor argument.
And I'm sure we will one day. But at the moment we're talking, James, we're talking about last night's interview with Dominic Cummings and his portrayal.
It's all tied to Brexit, James. You know that. And you make it tied to Brexit too. You're very effective, but you've anchored a false logic today. Who does he hate more, Brexit voters or Boris?
But I also said that's not the question. That's not the question that I want people to focus on. The question I want them to focus on is whether or not Boris Johnson's key advisor, his most trusted consigliere, the man who I think everybody agrees put him in Downing Street, thinks he's completely unfit for purpose. That's of sort of historical significance, James. And I'm intrigued by why perhaps I've misunderstood you. Are you trying to persuade yourself that it's not of historical significance?
No, I think everything that's happening right now is of historical significance.
But we're just talking about this one.
Inflated further, isn't it?
Okay, so we're not going to engage, are we? I can tell you're not going to engage on the question of how you feel about putting a man into Downing Street that the architect of his campaign thinks is absolutely unbelievably ill-equipped for power. I didn't vote for Boris Johnson. I'm actually a Leave voter, and I voted for the gentleman from Beaconsfield, who was one of the lead pro-EU people, because not all of us are so tribal, James. Okay, but we're talking about, again, we're off again, aren't we? I don't know. I mean, maybe you were on hold, were you, when we played out all of that clip and established?
No, I did listen in, James.
Why it is so. But you're ringing in to say this isn't important.
What's happening at the moment is remarkable. I think Boris and his team are not in control of the optics of the situation. Yes. But I also think everyone just needs to take a breath. All the language at the moment is always very politically aggressive. Words like vile or outrageous or unfathomable. And it's just...
I don't think unfathomable is aggressive, is it?
Well, it is aggressive. We went from a period of being quite apathetic politically as a country, didn't we? To be fair, Brexit being almost the vomit that woke us up.
Let's not use aggressive language, and then you reach immediately for vomit.
Well, of course, I do think it's been that reaction. I think that ultimately
practice what you preach. So what we're hearing a lot now, and I'm not.
I don't think vomit's an aggressive word, James. Is it really?
Well, it's more aggressive than unfathomable, James. But I can see why you'd rather debate semantics than reality.
Yeah, that's a good word to pick out for sure.
Here's the thing. People who voted Leave are watching Dominic Cummings, who delivered it, either cover himself in, whatever word you want to use, shame, I suppose, or Boris Johnson in shame. You've got to pick one or the other. They're the two deliverers of the Brexit result. So everybody who voted for it is desperately reaching...
James, speaking personally...
Well, I haven't finished speaking yet. I haven't finished speaking yet. Okay. And so you're reaching desperately for some way to avoid that feeling of shame that you now have, because the two people that sold it to you are in a circular firing squad.
Say someone feels shame about Brexit. That's your prejudice.
No. I said you were desperate to avoid feeling shame about Brexit.
But I don't feel shame about it, James.
Well, that, James, is unfathomable.